All right, we're good.
Welcome to the Indie Corner, where we talk about all things independent comics. I'm Rebecca.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Mikey.
Changing up the podcast a little bit today, I'm doing the intro, and today, people, we are covering More Than Meets the Eye, Volume 6.
So freeing. It's so freeing not to do this. Oh Lord, I feel so liberated. Oh, thanks, Rebecca. This is a great idea.
The less Mikey has to do, the better.
Yeah.
But I do have to ask one thing. If you would pull up my slides, please.
Oh no.
Well, then I guess the podcast is over.
Good night.
But first off, people, Happy New Year. Let's do that because it's the first episode, first podcast of the year. So Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Slides.
Slides. Okay.
All right. So if it's okay with you guys, we'll just hop right into it.
Mhm.
Starting off with More Than Meets the Eye, number 28, back to our normal artist. All right. So it's been 6 months since the events of Dark Cybertron. We opened this volume with Brainstorm and a new reoccurring character, Nautica, who's the purple one here, meeting up. As they're chatting, they notice a bunch of characters eavesdropping on Rung's office because, as Brainstorm notes, today's the day the captain's having his head examined. Cut to inside, and we see the captain being referenced is Megatron. And we get this accompanying quote from Fyodor Dostoevsky. Nothing is easier than to denounce the evildoer. Nothing is more difficult than to understand him.
Yeah, this is a great way to start the arc.
I loved this.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. Flashback to 6 months ago, which happens a lot in the first couple issues of this. But after our event from last time, Rodimus is eager to get back on his quest, but is still stuck on Cybertron for the duration of Megatron's trial at the request of Optimus Prime. Speaking of the trial, it's decided that Optimus will oversee it, with Prowl prosecuting and Ultra Magnus acting as Megatron's defense attorney. Speaking of Rodimus's quest, he informs us that since they broke their only map, their next course of action will be to meet up with Thunderclash. Back in the present, we see, despite Rung's assurance, somebody is listening in. Hover my mouse over there so you can see that. And are listening into Megatron's conversation, and the two are discussing Megatron's autobiography / communist manifesto called Towards Peace.
Communist manifesto. I'm sorry. I didn't even hit me that. Yeah, no, it is a communist manifesto.
Yeah. The Decepticons are basically just communists in this. Like, that's why they kind of rule. But anyway, according to Rung, since the original publication, only one thing has changed, and that's a dedication to a guy named Terminus, and it was removed. Suddenly, the ship's lights flicker off as Megatron suddenly goes into captain mode, but not before informing us that Terminus was the name of the guy who taught Megatron not to get attached. And we learned that Megatron was the one who requested to talk to Rung.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, we flash back to 6 months ago. Swerve is holding auditions for people to join the Lost Light crew and rejecting everyone who applies, until Nightbeat, who you may also remember from the Dark Cybertron event, comes in saying this whole thing is a farce. Ultra Magnus would never let Swerve hold crew auditions, let alone crew auditions.
We have a comment. It says, "I love that Megatron is Transformers is the Transformers Karl Marx."
I mean, he's more like Stalin, but yes.
Right.
He's like Stalin if Stalin felt kind of bad for what he did. Anyway, elsewhere in the past, Optimus brings in Chrome Dome to extract Megatron's memories in order to avoid a centuries-long trial. But Megatron freaks out, saying that they can lock him up forever, hurt or kill him, but they'll never get to tamper with his head, at least not without a fight. Optimus relents, and as they leave Megatron's cell, Rodimus tells Megatron he deserves to die, and he knows it. And strangely, Megatron asks him for a favor that we don't get to hear just yet. Back in the present, Nightbeat and Skids try to check on Chrome Dome to no avail. He's in a depressed state, and all he does is listen to Rewind's final message over and over again. Meanwhile, Megatron comes back to his room to see it's covered in graffiti when Whirl attacks him.
Oh, his beefy shoulders, bro. Oh my god, he's sturdy.
Yeah.
He's so sturdy.
Anyway, Whirl beats on him, trying to goad him into a fight, but Megatron doesn't take the bait, instead taunting Whirl that he's only alive because Megatron let him live. And and as Whirl punches him in the chest, his arm disappears thanks to a portal that he got during the last event. And with that, the fight is over. Later, Whirl informs someone that Megatron didn't bite, and whatever their plans are, they'll have to try something else. Additionally, we see... sorry, I can't read what I said. Additionally, we see Chrome Dome once again listening to Rewind's message, but this time at the end, it ends with an unexpected scream. In our final flashback of the issue, we see Megatron's trial get underway as he's charged with crimes against the species, which constitutes a very, very long list of many, many war crimes. And Megatron pleads guilty. Finally, in the present day, we see Megatron taking command of the Lost Light as he's informed that they've just detected a UFO, which they believe is a coffin. And that's the end of the issue. Yeah. So what do we think?
Okay, I'm going to say this off rip, right? Because remember last episode, when we did the Dark Cybertron, when it teased that, like, Megatron was going to be an Autobot, so that was going to be the greatest thing ever. I still stand by that, right? I just thought he would just be a crew member. I didn't expect him to be captain. I was like, that's 10 times better than what I thought. All right. It's awesome. Like the fact that like he's captain and no one trusts him. No one really respects him. They just kind of have to, just out of this circumstance is just great. And I love the fact that this whole arc just in general, this whole volume is just basically just being like, we're going to go to the present of him as a captain of the Lost Light, and how Rodimus doesn't really like that, but we're going to go back and forth from the past and the present to see like the lead up to what happened in terms of like his trial, because remember, he did kill a lot of people. Yeah, we have to see the ramifications of that first while everything's going on. I think it's so well done. I love it.
I love the nonlinear storytelling. I know a lot of people don't like that. I know a lot of people are like, just tell it in order. I think that's dumb. I think this, especially in this case, it's done really well. I fucking love it.
Nonlinear storytelling, this is kind of like a tangent, but it has like, if you're just doing it to do it, like it's not going to matter. If you're doing it specifically to make your like plot twists, like, or I guess hide your twist a little bit, I guess. That's when it works.
And it works well in terms of like, you know, making sure like you're keeping the audience surprised and like engaged. Like when we did Sex Criminals are very non-linear storytelling. And like, I feel like if it was linear, it wouldn't have been as fun and it wouldn't have been as surprising if it was just straight to the point the entire time. So it works.
And it wouldn't communicate its message as well.
Exactly.
And you, not so much in this one, but in some of the next couple issues, you also get some like great parallels as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I love seeing Mikey touched on it. I love seeing Megatron as a captain. I love that he is genuinely, it seems at least, putting in the effort.
Yeah, he's trying. Like he's genuinely trying.
And of course, no one believes him. But like, or at least, I don't know if I say no one believes him, but no one really trusts him, and that makes sense also.
Yeah. Well, when you're at rock bottom for being evil, you can only go up. You know?
Right.
And I like how like through the course of this arc, like they're kind of planting seeds and kind of reminding us of like stuff that happened in like the other volumes, like the stuff with Chrome Dome. Because I had to refresh her that like like Rewind died last time and like he's kind of dealing with that. The fact that the fight with Whirl kind of reminded us, Megatron has portal stomach still because of the last event, the last thing, because I remember he had a portal in his fucking chest, and I was like, that's stupid, but cool. So I like that, like they're taking the time to be like, hey, remember this happened in this volume, remember this happened in this volume, because there are occurring here, like no stone is left unturned still, and I appreciate that. It's good, man. It's good, and fucking Rodimus is butthurt. Oh man, love that shit.
But you don't even see him in this issue. We don't even see him to like a couple issues in the present, at least.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this arc is It's so good. It's so good. And I see a wild Taylor in the background. So
special cameo. Okay, so if that's our thoughts, then for this issue, we'll move on.
I'm chilling.
Issue 29. I think last episode, Mikey, this was the cover you were talking about.
Yeah, this was the cover that I saw, and that kind of, I guess, spoiled it for me. I guess, but listen, it was worth it because it got me hyped. But I love this cover. I didn't realize how small Tailgate was.
Yeah, I also didn't mention it the first issue, but I included all the variant covers for this arc because the variant covers for this arc are really good.
I mean,
yeah,
it's not bad. That one I'm not a fan of, but I think the rest of them are cool.
Well, I think they're better than the normal covers, at least. The normal covers are on.
This one is boss. This
right.
is a boss cover. All right, I think compared to that one. All right, but agree to disagree. Agree to disagree.
All right. So this issue begins with Tailgate fully recovered from almost dying a few volumes ago. He tells Cyclonus that this is one of the best days of his life. He's fully healed. He got his Autobot badge for real, and other people know who he is and kind of like him. But as he says this, we see one of the legislator robots from a few volumes ago also looms over him.
Okay, I'm going to say this right now. I forgot about those for a second. I thought this was Grimlock, and I almost nutted. I was like, yo, like, my boy's back. Let's go. And then, but it wasn't. But it's okay. Please tell me we'll see Grimlock again.
We should see him eventually.
Okay.
Sorry, that's like an underwhelming answer there.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
Anyway, so we see this robot guy. However, we learn that his name is 10, and he was reprogrammed by Swerve to be his bar's bouncer and enforce Swerve's no guns, no swords, no briefcases rules. Mm-hmm. Across the bar, Skids, Trail Cutter, and new characters Nautica and Riptide are drinking when Riptide mentions that the strongest fuel is kept in the med bay for Megatron, which gives Tail Cutter an idea. Or Trail Cutter.
I want to say this right now. I forgot that this was. I took me a minute to realize this was Trailbreaker. I'm just like, okay, the fact that you changed your name to Trailbreaker, because Trailbreaker was a dumb name to begin with, but the fact that you changed it to Cutter,
keep changing the name between Cutter and Breaker, so I'm not sure what the actual name is.
They're both still dumb though.
Is it two characters? Or is it one?
I thought it was the same character.
No, it's the same character because, well, I mean, I guess it's like I'm going ahead here, but like he has Trail Cutter has the same power as or ability that Trailbreaker has, and they look the same. So I think they're the same person, but he changed his name out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay.
I think people just don't know his name. That's like a running gag, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyway, flashback to 6 months prior, as Megatron's trial is underway. This guy named Atomizer, who kind of looks like Rodimus, he's not really important though, so don't worry about him. Okay. Informs Rodimus that he's obtained a list of all the people who voted no for him staying as captain. Rodimus says he can't look at that list, let alone act on it, and tells Atomizer to take it away and destroy it. Atomizer replies that he will if Rodimus tells him to do it one more time, and we just get this panel of Rodimus looking at him silently.
Mm-hmm.
So down below, Starscream is testifying, surprisingly, in defense of Megatron. Kinda. Essentially, he said that while Megatron's obviously guilty of everything, he's not the smart, strong leader people think he is, but a dumb, weak rioter who was at the right place at the right time and couldn't control the cause that grew around him. According to Starscream, Megatron doesn't deserve death. He deserves pity. And you can see from this panel that this really pisses Megatron off, and they call it a recess.
Yes, I'm
sorry. I literally was just like, hilarious.
Another special cameo here.
Oh my god. That's gonna be in the clips. I'm sorry, it is.
Matt, did you want to say something there before?
No, it's fine. I'll get to it at the end.
I'll say that. I'll say something real quick. I was gonna save it for my final thoughts for this issue, but I'm not. When I read this, I literally was thinking of Matt being like, "Why the fuck does Matt like Starscream this much?
I love him. I love this.
Him."
Mike, you say this every time this character's on panel.
I know, and I'm gonna say it again. He's a prick. Okay,
that's why I love him.
All right, we'll move on. So this move worked perfectly for Starscream, who doesn't really care what the people think and only cares that his speech reached its target, which was Megatron. And he says, in a sense, this is the day he's like killed him. Additionally, this trial seems to be doing good for the Autobots' public perception, so long as they stay the course. Back in the present day, Chrome Dome goes to Nightbeat in hopes of solving the mystery of the scream on the message. As now it's seemingly gone back to normal. Nightbeat doesn't really believe him since Chrome Dome hasn't exactly been acting normal lately, but that changes as he turns around and appears to see Rewind standing in the doorway. Elsewhere, the drinking buddies are orchestrating a heist and send Trail Cutter to get the goods, which he manages to find. Unfortunately, Trail Cutter is caught red-handed and worse, feels poisoned by what he just drank. But this, in combo with already being drunk, causes him to create a panic bubble so no one, including him, can get in or out for the next half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Back with Chrome Dome and Nightbeat, Nightbeat thinks the Rewind he saw was some sort of ghost and is excited to work on that mystery. But as he enters his room to get his detective gear, they see that that part of the ship is just gone. Cut back to the med bay. Megatron karate chops Trail Cutter in the back of the head, taking away his ability to get drunk for the rest of his life, and offers him a job as director of security for the ship. With his new first job being to assess how dangerous it is that the coffin they found is leaking.
Is Magnus still on the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Anyway, the two open it up, and inside appears to be Rodimus's corpse.
Yeah.
Yo. Yeah.
Yeah, this cliffhanger is shocking.
It caught me off guard a little bit because I actually I looked up and down at my screen for a couple times because I wasn't sure. I'm like, is that Rodimus or is that just a guy that looks like another Transformer that looks like Rodimus? Like, I just wasn't sure. But
well, like I said, we also haven't seen Rodimus in the present day yet, so it's kind of a fake out in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It super is, and it got me.
Not your boy.
Yeah, I know. I was not happy.
Finally, back at Megatron's trial, Ultra Magnus informs Optimus that Megatron's changed his plea and now asserts that he's innocent of all charges. And that's the end of issue 29.
Yo,
I love the ending to that. That's such a big dick move, you know?
That is literally like something you see out of a fucking Maury episode. Like, it's like the denial is so great. Like, I thought that was so. I was like, there's no way in hell like Megatron's actually gonna admit that he actually did all those things. Like, it's such the character. I think it works. It was a nice little turn there.
And I think it's neat because we know Megatron says something. We know at this point he has some sort of speech that turns people to his side, and so presumably that's coming up, but we haven't actually seen it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think this issue is really cool. Again, a good amount of seasoning. I haven't said enough. Man, I haven't said that a lot. I haven't done the seasoning thing in a while, but no, there's some good seasoning in there. Especially in terms of the Rewind stuff. That I was like, that's a good little mystery there. If is there a data ghost as they call it, or is just Chrome Dome just losing his mind? That was really cool. The ship disappearing. I didn't catch that at first, but then I went back and was like, oh shit, yeah, that there's a piece gone there from the ship. That's interesting. Yeah, the trial. I think the trial is for Megatron just so interesting. Starscream is just a prick though. He's a prick.
It's so good and it's so interesting.
It is good. Because you can literally tell Starscream is literally giving a reason for how Megatron should be treated and to make himself look better, because at the end of the day, Starscream is just he's power thirsty. He wants to be the guy on top, and everything he says kind of has a double meaning to it, especially when he's trying to plead Megatron's case, but in reality it's no, fuck Megatron, I want to be the one on top, basically. Yeah,
he's a slimy opportunist. I love characters like that.
He's so slimy. It's just, yeah. But yeah, other than that, it's just it's good stuff. I really like this issue. I probably have more to say, but I'll let Matt talk for a little bit.
Oh, I think you hit all the marks, my guy. We already talked about Starscream, and I can't have the same rant every single episode he's in. I love Starscream. Yeah, I think we've about covered everything. I really had to say.
Trailblazer, whatever. Trailblazer, Trail Cutter, whatever the fuck his name is. Trail something. The fact that he got drunk off of Megatron fluids, that was kind of wild. Like the fact that there was that rumor that Megatron is drinking the most wicked energon ever, and it turns out to be true. It's hilarious. And yeah, the whole karate chop to the back of the head to stop him from getting drunk is so funny. So
yeah, it's fantastic.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, I'll have a little more to say next issue as we conclude the trial stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. So moving on to issue 30. I really like the variant covers. I just think this is so fun.
Okay, no, that cover is better than this one because I didn't like the fact that it was just ships. I was like, nah, I want to see boys. I want to see my boys in this cover or something like that. But
the Rod Pod.
Listen, I love the Rod Pod as much as the next person, but I wanted to see. I like seeing Transformers on my covers, not just their vehicles.
Yeah, and yeah, no, this variant cover is awesome. I love it. That's one of my favorite covers we've seen so far, I think.
All right, so picking up right where we left off, Ultra Magnus reads Megatron's statement that he was coerced into a guilty plea and that this can never be a fair trial while his arch enemy sits to judge him, which, to be honest, is kind of fair.
Yeah.
This reading is interrupted by an ambush of Decepticons there to rescue Megatron, but as they get to him, he refuses to go with them, and they're put to a stop. A little while later, the group of Autobots and Starscream are informed by Ultra Magnus that because they held the trial on one of Cybertron's moons, they're subject to a legal loophole that says Megatron has the right to be tried and judged by the Knights of Cybertron.
Oh my god!
when we've forgotten about the Knights of Cybertron for the past 4 volumes.
Yeah, it suddenly becomes relevant in a really funny way.
Oh my
so good.
Despite Prowl and Starscream's protest, Optimus says they have to abide by the loophole so it doesn't just seem like the Autobots are above the law.
Yeah.
Later still, Optimus goes to talk to Megatron in his cell. Turns out the favor Megatron asked Rodimus for was to deliver his request to hold the trial off-world. However, Megatron claims this was just a contingency plan, and what this is really about is how he wants to be remembered, especially after Starscream tried to paint him as a loser.
Right.
Meg says he wants to make amends by finding the Knights of Cybertron, but more importantly, Cyber Utopia, which is allegedly where they live. And after that, he'll confess to all his crimes. Optimus agrees to let Megatron join the Lost Light, but only on the condition that he reads a public statement that Optimus wrote. In the present, First Aid is investigating the coffin corpse as Ultra Magnus, Megatron, and Ratchet overlook the process.
Oh yeah, First Aid's here. Yeah.
Yeah. According to First Aid's findings, the cause of death was spark failure caused by removal of part of the brain, and that the corpse face was reset because they were most likely screaming when they died.
Jeez.
So they break the news to Rodimus, who does not take identifying his own corpse well, and who we learn has been kind of not really demoted to co-captain of the ship.
Yeah.
Such a bitch, man. He really is. I'm sorry, but it's the whole co-captain thing is so funny to me.
Yeah, you got the ship all to yourself, and now they're putting Space Stalin as your captain. Anyway, Rodimus gathers his team of specialists, and after a little more investigation, it's determined that yes, this is definitely Rodimus's body, which they theorize may have time traveled there from the near future. Rodimus takes this as good news, thinking this will mean all he has to do is not die or not become this corpse Rodimus.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, his first idea to avoid this fate is to cut off one of his arms because, quote, dead me has 2 arms.
Oh my god. So if dead me has one arm, that means this won't be the real me. Time travel ish.
Yeah. And then Megatron's like, well, what if we just like put your arm back after you cut it off? And he's like, everyone promised not to do it.
I love that scene. It's so good.
It reminds me of a bit that like our friend group would do, you know?
Yeah,
Absolutely, yes.
However, as people begin pointing out why this is a dumb idea, Nightbeat says this might not be the future him because his hand's missing the voting numbers from the previous event. However, Rodimus says he no longer has those either, but as the crew look at him, they notice the section of the ship behind him has disappeared, and one of Brainstorm's inventions that's an early warning system is saying to run for your life. Elsewhere on board, Tailgate is recounting / gloating about the time he saved the world. When Getaway comes up to him and starts schmoozing / flirting with him, and then the ship's alarms go off. In the past, once more, we see Megatron giving the statement provided to him by Optimus. In this statement, he renounces Decepticonism and gives a final order for all remaining Decepticons to stand down, ending with, the Decepticons are over, the war is over, and thankfully, we lost. Elsewhere in the past, we see Rodimus was gifted a replacement rod pod after the last one blew up.
You're right.
He tells Ratchet, who's with him, about the voting records that he kept, though he says he wasn't going to act on them. During this, Ratchet has to be the one who informs him that not only will Megatron be coming on the ship, but he'll be in some sort of leadership capacity so that his actions can be under constant scrutiny. And also that Megatron will be given some sort of strength-sapping toxin called Fool's Energon to make him less powerful. Finally, in this scene, Rodimus destroys the datapad before Ratchet tells him that it was a fake anyway because his name wasn't on the list of people who voted him out. In the present, we end this issue with our crew evacuating the ship, narrowly escaping as the lost light disappears entirely. And that's the end of issue 30.
There's a lot of good Rodimus stuff in this one.
It is.
Yeah. I think all the stuff in the past is really good, like really well written character stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love that they made Ultra Magnus like the defense attorney because he's like the one guy who actually
cares about like the laws and shit. Like it's so funny.
Yeah, he's the perfect choice.
I'm sorry. Like literally, like Optimus telling Megatron, like your only way you're gonna get out of this if you admit to that Decepticonism is wrong and that you were wrong. And tell them to stop, like, and tell everyone to just chill out. I think it's so funny, and literally just like, I don't wanna kind of be meta and like, I don't want to be meta and just like put this.
Just say what's on your mind.
Yeah, but like, fucking Megatron kind of low-key told him to just told the Decepticons to stand down and stand by a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, he said half of that.
Yeah, like, and then. Yeah, it's just, and I'm just like, like, it's funny. And then guess what they didn't do? They didn't stand down. So. Well,
that was before.
This. Oh, that was before. Yeah. Okay, never mind. I thought that happened after. Never mind. But yeah. Okay. But I thought it was. I thought it was so funny. Just like they're kind of coercing him they're coercing him a little bit to do what they want. And I'm like, that's kind of sucky.
I think this scene is like so good though because like you can see in the like panels here like he says it but like he's clearly upset about it. You know?
Yes.
But yeah, no, there's definitely some good Rodimus stuff in here. Also, Getaway. I forgot about Getaway for a second, so I like the fact that like he shows up again here, talking to Tailgate. I call Tailgate Scout, which is like because like I don't know why he calls him that, but it's like I guess because he's short. He's
like flirting with him.
Yeah, but I think the Rodimus stuff is the one that shines the most, especially the stuff in the present, just because of like him trying to figure out like, oh, like this is me. I don't know how to deal with this, so like maybe I can figure out a dumb way for me to like this to like not being me, which we already discussed about. Yeah, it's good. And also just the fact that like everything's disappearing. So like that's happening now and they don't know why. So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
This and the next volume of More Than Meets the Eye really try to do a lot of like high sci-fi concepts.
Oh Lord.
Even for a very sci-fi heavy book.
Yeah. A lot of sci-fi bullshit in this issue as well as the next one. So
oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I got nothing to say. I think it's very fun and the flashbacks are great. Megatron and the flashbacks.
This arc, at least character wise, is very solid, so I don't have like too
not
much to say other than it's good.
Yeah, there's really honestly not too much like big plot stuff going on. We're adapting to the new status quo and seeing Megatron and Rodimus and where they're at now, and that's fascinating, but it's not as easy to discuss, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we'll move on to our next issue, issue 31. We have a different artist on this issue filling in.
Yeah. I don't just offer it. Just a sort of, I don't know how I felt about this guy's art. Atilio Rojo. I don't know. I was getting used to Alex Milne's, I guess, his improvement, his constant improvement. But I don't know. I kind of wish that that Milne just kept on going, or they got some of the other artists from Dark Cybertron, especially the guy that did the Dark Side stuff. That guy's a fucking great artist.
Well, like I said, I think this is just kind of like a fill-in artist. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I think Milne probably just ran out of time to do this.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So this issue starts with flashback. Surprise, surprise.
Okay.
With Mikey's boy Drift.
My boy! I was so happy. I was like, yes, he's back briefly, but he's back.
Briefly. Yeah.
When are we getting the Drift mini? Hold on, no, we're doing. Is it coming up soon? Please.
You ask that every episode.
I do.
I think it's after next volume.
Okay.
I have to double check that. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Because there's something that has to happen in this series first before we can read the Drift series.
Okay. I'm excited.
All right. So anyway, as I was saying, Drift, Pipes, and Riptide, who's a new character over here, are searching for a ship for Rodimus's quest. Turns out Drift somehow is loaded and even has a fancy space Amex to prove it. So they can afford pretty much any ship they want, but a particular one has caught Drift's eye. So after talking to the owners, Drift drops $1 billion space dollars on a ship he's only seen from the outside that the owners said they found empty and abandoned, but it felt like the one. We also learned that the ship was named the Lost Light after the festival that was going on when they bought the ship.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That name never made any sense to me.
Yeah, like I like the fact that we actually get to see like where the name actually came from, because why would you name this ship the Lost Light? Like that makes no sense. But it's a good reason. It's a good explanation.
Yeah, it's an explanation at least, you know?
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah. In the present, we see that 20 people, including Megatron, have escaped via the Rod Pod. Nautica, who's a quantum mechanic, theorizes that since the ship's engines run on sci-fi bullshit and probability, that they might have, quote, proved themselves impossible and blink the ship out of existence. The Rod Pod is able to receive messages from Rodimus's shuttle. However, the transmission is lost halfway through. In that transmission, Rodimus mentioned a planet nearby that they could regroup at. However, as the crew is discussing the planet, the lights go out and this one guy, Crosscut, disappears.
Like we gave a fuck. Like
yeah.
It
doesn't matter. He's not important. Don't worry about it.
Crosscut.
In response to this, Tailgate tries to play hero and pull a gun on Megatron since he's the obvious suspect when an Autobot dies. However, as Ratchet points out, we don't know that Crosscut's dead, just that he's disappeared. Still, Tailgate suggests that they lock Megatron up somewhere until they figure out what happened, and upon hearing this, Megatron pulls out a gun of his own.
Okay, like here's the thing, right? I love this page so much just because this fucking idiot Tailgate is just like trying to pull. He's trying to pull a Glock on Megatron, and I love the way this page is composed, where Megatron is literally towering over this man, like he can do shit. Like it is so good.
You could stomp him.
Honestly, you can stomp him like freaking Overlord did the fucking pipes. Like it's just it's oh dude, I loved it. I love this scene a lot.
Yeah. So, following this, people continue to pull out more and more guns as tensions escalate. Finally, shots ring out as Ravage, Soundwave's cat, pops out of the darkness, who we see is stopped by Megatron. However, we see the two baddies are able to communicate silently in front of everyone. Additionally, Cyclonus lashes out at Tailgate for starting shit, which is followed up with Getaway telling Tailgate how he's actually so brave or whatever. Then the group realizes that while this took place, 6 more people have disappeared. Though the disappearances seem to be random, Nightbeat believes there must be some sort of pattern or commonality between those disappearing. So he starts asking the room how they were made, which turns out to be a very personal question. And a point here is made that since some of the guys in the room were created to fight in the war, they most likely wouldn't have existed without Megatron. However, this pattern leads to a dead end, as Ratchet points out that those who've disappeared belong to both groups. Once again, the lights go out and more people disappear. One of these people was Cyclonus. However, we see that for some reason his sword was left behind. Then a giant eye appears in front of the remaining crew. Turns out it's Ultra Magnus's human avatar, and he shrinks down to normal size and says that he's reached out to them to say that the same disappearing thing is happening to all the other shuttles, including the physical shuttles themselves. Before Tailgate points out that Ultra Magnus's ship is no longer outside and Magnus slowly fades away. In an effort to quicken solving the mystery, Nightbeat has Ratchet write down everyone's medical info to find the pattern, though Ratchet believes there is no guarantee that they won't all just eventually disappear. Then, again, the lights go out and Tailgate, Swerve, and Ratchet disappear. Though Ratchet, or rather Pharma's hands, are left behind, but with the original blue paint. We also learned that Riptide was supposed to be on board the last flight from day one, but due to being knocked out after overhearing about the Spark Eater being on board the ship, missed the launch.
Mm-hmm.
With this, Nightbeat works out that the only people left behind were those who weren't on the lost flight for its launch. But as Megatron notes, they may have solved the mystery, but it doesn't help any of the people who already disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Finally, as the crew approaches the planet, they come across a broken apart lost light. And that's the end of issue 31.
This issue is kind of because kind of this next part of the arc in general kind of just feels like a Star Trek episode. And I like Star Trek. It's fun. And it's a good way to, like I said before, introduce the characters and show who we're dealing with in the new status quo. But I also don't feel like I have that much to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, all I gotta say is that I did enjoy the fact that people are suddenly disappearing and they're trying to figure out why, but it's just the mystery hasn't really wrapped yet, especially because the moment Ratchet disappears, it's they're fucked. Ratchet and Nightbeat are the only ones that actually are trying to figure out what to do. So once Ratchet's gone, it's just oh crap.
I love that his hands get left behind though. I think that's so funny.
Because I always forget that those are technically Pharma's hands. So I thought that was kind of anti-Ratchet's hands. But one thing I do that was a good takeaway. Because the reminder, about the whole people Autobot the Transformers that are forged or the ones that are cold. I like the fact that it is kind of fucked up and it's kind of fucked up in a way, a little fucky because a lot of them that were the ones that were made cold owe their lives to Megatron inadvertently, because of the war. That's kind of interesting. I didn't really think of it that way. They're alive because of Megatron. I like that was kind of
the implications are kind of horrifying.
Yeah, right. Shit, it's kind of messed up. But I also do like the fact that Megatron is the one. The former villain is the one that's we shouldn't be able to reveal all this stuff because I don't really believe in segregation and all that. So the fact that like when we see like those pages that I think we brought one of them up where like it's the roster list and they see like who's disappearing and like we do that list of like of who's forged and who's cold. Megatron's just a question mark because he refuses to give out the information because he believes it to be very personal and very demeaning. If
Megatron is many things, but he would never violate HIPAA.
Yeah, he's a murderer. He's literally a mass murderer who like try to have like a communist movement, but he doesn't like segregation, which is valid. So but yeah, I thought that was an interesting takeaway. It was just like those two things. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say on it. So
yeah. Well, this issue's more just like set up for the next two anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Just trying to get a little bit of mystery going, you know?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a detective on the crew. Why not make use of him?
Yeah. It's like his only time to shine. So
yeah, he's never gonna shine again. So
all right. So moving on to issue 32. Back to our normal artist here.
Yeah.
Continuing where we left off, the crew moves in closer to investigate the ship. They believe this is the future Lost Light and can see it's covered in something called quantum foam, which is highly explosive.
Quantum foam.
Just go with it.
That's some good sci-fi stuff.
Whenever you have something like spacey, you just put the word like quantum in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the group manages to land in the wreckage of Swerve's bar. However, it's a little different than they remember it since it's set up for a production of a play Crosscut, who was the one guy who disappeared, mentioned he was working on, but the crew disregards this since it's a future ship. Megatron also has his Decepticon buddy with him, so everyone else isn't very happy about that. And then it's decided that the group will split up to investigate. So Megatron's group comes across Minimus's body outside the Magnus armor, and Getaway has to explain to the new guys that actually, this is Ultra Magnus. Yeah. Skids also discovers that the armor appears to have taken a blast from a fusion cannon, making Megatron a suspect, even though part of his parole agreement was giving his up. Mm-hmm. More importantly, Megatron claims he couldn't have killed Magnus this particular way because he didn't know about him being a smaller guy inside a suit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Nonetheless, he agrees to be locked up for the investigation since he's, quote, no longer qualified to predict his own future. On the other half of the ship, Nightbeat and Nautica come across Brainstorm's damaged briefcase. Nightbeat, of course, wants to see what's inside since it's remained a mystery up to this point. Mm-hmm. And the two are surprised to see that when they open it, it's empty. Next, they stumble upon Tailgate's dead body, but more strangely, they find that even though they're at the bottom of the ship, there seems to be a stairwell leading down to somewhere.
The basement.
Back with Megatron and Ravage. Ravage is like, come back to the Decepticons. Galvatron's in charge, but he kind of sucks. Yeah. And Megatron's like, no, can't you see him having like a midlife crisis? But to be slightly more serious, Megatron says he became an Autobot as the easiest way to leave his past stealth behind because, quote, if the world thinks you're a monster, what does it matter? The world is wrong. But when you start to think of yourself as a monster, you come to hate the person you've become. He says he thinks old Megatron is dead, though Ravage asks dead or just resting.
That's a question, I guess.
Yeah. Then the lights in the room turn on, and we see within the room are a few corpses, including Ratchet and Drifts.
Oh, fuck off. Really? Good.
So, over with Skids, Getaway, and Riptide, they discover a bunch of dead bodies in their alt modes. Each body has 2 holes in it. One is a bullet to the brain, and the other leads Skids to conclude that something was taken from the body. Just then, the groups are able to get in contact with each other, and we see Nightbeat and Nautica have come across a headless overlord in the ship's basement, and the groups reach the same conclusion. This ship was attacked by the Decepticon Justice Division.
Oh, fucking hell. I forgot about these guys. Honestly, when I read it, I forgot about these guys.
Yeah, we saw them.
Volume 2.
Oh, Volume 2. Yeah. Remember because Fletcher did the voice for Tarn? Shout out to
Fletcher. Oh, yes, I do. Yeah.
You don't have. I thought you had like point to make there, but
okay.
Oh
no. I mean, unless Matt did, I didn't have anything to say.
It's just been a long time since we saw them. I forgot about them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So following this, everyone regroups. Megatron thinks the attack must have been in response to him renouncing the Decepticon cause. Though, as Nightbeat points out, it doesn't make sense why Overlord was here when previously he escaped his cell and was killed. Then the ship starts breaking apart, and Riptide says it's time to leave. Nautica says they need to look for survivors, though Megatron assures her that the DJD doesn't leave survivors. However, as he says this, Ravage stiffs out a body in Ultra Magnus's armor, and then Megatron reaches inside and pulls out Rewind. And that's the end of issue 31.
Yeah, that is a crazy twist.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's starting to come together. But I like this issue. I think even though, Megatron's talking to a cat, that scene is really good character moment,
Yeah, I think it's the best part of the issue.
Yeah, this whole arc's just Megatron being like a sad old man, but I kind of dig it,
Yes, it really works for him.
It does, I think. Wow. Yeah. I skipped this issue. So this was I didn't.
Mikey, you texted me when you said earlier you still had 2 issues to read. I was like, he's not reading them.
Yeah.
I know you too well. He's not reading shit.
Listen, it was a rough day. But like, it's just that's interesting, bruv. Wow, because it was like I thought I was just expecting him just to be this data ghost. So I was like, unless we're going into like multiverse shit, then that kind of makes sense. Well, yeah, that makes sense. It's multiverse shit. Not time travel shit.
No, time travel comes later.
Okay, yeah, of course. That's interesting. But the fact that Megatron is just grumpy old man, which I mean makes sense. For the character so far, it works for him. But that's interesting. Multiverse stuff. These are variants of other characters. I don't like seeing my boy dead because he doesn't die. Drift is immortal.
So I guess I'll spoil it a little bit. But if you remember from also Volume 2, the like Necrobot, like the Grim Reaper guy.
Yeah, the guy that had the list.
Drift's name was on that list.
Yeah.
And this is what it's in reference to.
Thank Christ. Because I thought he was going to die in this. I was waiting for it. Hoping that it would never happen. Thank God. Okay. No, that was perfect. That wasn't really a spoil. That was just relief. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah. Do the reading next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a whole lot of I don't think I fully have my brain wrapped around the plot of the story. I don't think I fully, even with the explanation, I still don't think I fully am following the time travel multiverse situation in its entirety.
Okay, so let me do this next issue and then we'll talk about it.
All right, yeah, we'll do the next one. We'll just kind of do a wrap around. But all right.
I feel like there's something key that I don't understand.
All right, so issue 33, final issue in this volume. So picking up from last issue, we see somehow Rewind is alive, though disoriented and traumatized. Additionally, Nightbeat notices that the play poster from earlier said it premiered just a few weeks after the launch, not in the near future. With the explosive quantum foam getting closer, the engine drums are now in view. Nautica makes a joke about the quantum mechanics, to which Riptide tells her women aren't funny. And as she tries to explain the joke, she works out what happened. According to her, when the ship exploded in issue 1, all the way back then, it created a sort of parallel universe ship, except within the same universe. On this other ship, Rodimus died after getting stuck in the wall defeating the Spark Eater in Volume 1. Drift took over, gave Rodimus a funeral, and told everyone about Overlord. However, some unknown traitor called the DJD on Overlord, and a massacre ensued. Rewind only survived because the DJD wanted a souvenir and made him record all the carnage, including his husband's death, after which he ran and hid only to be found later by this crew. Additionally, as Nautica later exposits, she believes the ship and everyone on it started disappearing when our Lost Light encountered this Rodimus's coffin and the universe tried to rectify there being 2 ships. To make matters worse for our crew, the foam has spread out so far that it can now blow up the nearby planet if an explosion is triggered. Naka says they might be able to fix the problem by turning off the engines completely. However, Megatron gets annoyed and asks Skids where in his bail agreement it says that he has to risk his life for a bunch of strangers. Skids points to his Autobot badge for the answer, telling him if wearing that symbol hasn't forced him to change his behavior in any way, then nothing he's said or done in his time as captain counts for anything.
Oof. Oof. Hard rip.
Great scene.
So back to the problem at hand, the foam is now so close together that even the rod pod can't fit through. Rewind volunteers to try to squeeze through and shut off the engines. However, it's a two-person job, and the only other tiny guy there doesn't have thumbs. Then Skids remembers the shrink ray Brainstorm built for the annual. Yes. In Brainstorm's lab, the crew was unable to find the shrink ray, as in this ship's timeline, it was never built. However, they do find Brainstorm's body, and what's worse, they find out he was seemingly a Decepticon double agent. As Ravage points out, if this Brainstorm is a Decepticon, then ours probably is as well. Out of options, Megatron's like, hey, remember how I used to turn into a gun? Well, he can't do that anymore, but he can still shrink down. When asked why he didn't mention this earlier, he says, when everyone's lining up to make sacrifices, always get to the back of the queue. So the two are able to work their way through the foam, reaching the drums. Nautica tells them what to do to turn the engines off, but sadly informs Rewind that doing so may cause him to disappear since there can only be one crew dead or alive. Mm-hmm. Rewind says he's okay with death since he kind of has nothing left to live for, and asks Megatron how their ships, Chrome Dome and Rewind, are doing, which Megatron kind of lies and says they're inseparable before the two flip the switches and everything goes white. Over in the epilogue, we see the plan worked and everyone is slowly reappearing on the rod pod and on the other shuttles as well. Upon Chrome Dome coming back, Skids tells him not to ask any questions and just go to the roof, where him and the other ships Rewind, who somehow survived, are reunited. Megatron asks Ravage to stay on board the Lost Light as his ally. Nautica says she's not sure why Rewind survived. Nightbeat says he's tempted to say power of love, but it doesn't explain why he still has Brainstorm's briefcase. Speaking of Brainstorm, we see him enter Swerves, making a toast to fixing things. Atomizer, who's the bartender right now, tells him he's not allowed to have that briefcase in here. However, as he then opens it, saying he can do whatever the hell he likes in knocking everyone out. And that's the end of this issue and this volume.
Okay, so real quick, before we get to Brainstorm, I mean, fine, Mikey, back to Brainstorm first, I guess.
Wow.
Working commentary there.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
So the explosion at the beginning created a time clone, basically,
or like a parallel universe,
think of it as like a parallel universe except it's in the same universe.
It's in the same universe.
Yeah.
So there are two ships, there are two crews, they're both doing different things.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Spark Eater also would have been
on that ship, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what got Roddy.
Yeah.
And okay.
So I basically think of it like fucking I'm using MCU logic because that explosion or whatever just caused a separate reality. So that reality continued, which was the one that ended up
reality.
Huh?
It's parallel universes. They're just in the same universe. Don't overthink it.
I'm overthinking it because that makes okay. You know what? It's just head hurts. All right.
It's a universe clone. They got cloned. Essentially, right?
Yeah.
So it's a parallel universe. Wait, so they could have potentially interacted with each other at some point, but
yeah, and when they interacted, when our ship found their coffin, that's when they interacted. Like, this isn't right.
Yeah. Okay.
And people started disappearing.
Yeah, the universe went, oh, there's two of these guys here. There's only supposed to be one.
Mm-hmm.
And so the universe, whatever that means, started fixing it by fucking people out.
The sci-fi, it's too high concept.
It was God, Matt. Cybertron God was like, nope, not it. That's not right.
They're like, oh, we made a mistake a year and a half ago or whatever. Time to fix that and start plucking guys out.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they've existed and they've had their own terrible, awful adventure where everyone died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And now they're finding the corpses, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
it's a Star Trek. It's a bizarre Star Trek episode.
Yeah, it is. It's just weird. So Rodimus, we'll call him Rodimus 2. So Rodimus 2 ended up getting into the wall where
in our timeline where he only lost his arms, Bears lost his head.
Fucking head. He lost his head. Okay. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. And then the DJD are like this universe's DJD. There's not like a branch.
It's the same DJD.
So like
when they encounter them next, they're like, "Didn't we kill you?"
Right. Okay, gotcha. That's gonna be funny. Okay.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I was not following the multiple universes in the same universe thing at all.
I mean, I could say this about the final thoughts just for the whole arc, but like the time travel
we can just move into final thoughts if you want.
No. We'll talk about this issue. This issue is cool. Okay. Brainstorm turning the whole double agent thing that I thought was very interesting with the character. You know, I didn't read, but I was surprised.
I don't remember what. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
No. I was just surprised by it. Like. Yeah, because it makes sense if like that version of Brainstorm, the Brainstorm 2 was a double agent. It would make sense for this Brainstorm to be a double, like Brainstorm 1 to be double agent. So I was like, that's interesting.
That's a fun reveal. That's a fun way to do it. I don't remember what has Brainstorm done up to this point. I don't remember Brainstorm hardly. I know that I remember the name.
No, because Brainstorm. Okay, the only reason why I remember Brainstorm is because he's the guy who was like, I'm gonna go in fucking Overlord's mind and like.
That's not the right character.
It's not the right character?
No.
Who the fuck is Brainstorm then?
Brainstorm is he makes weapons. We've had this exact conversation before.
Oh.
He's more a background character up to this point. You're gonna get more of him next volume of this.
Who was Rewind the one that can go to people's minds?
That was Chrome Dome.
Chrome Dome.
Yes.
I'm getting okay. I always
Matt just died.
Yeah, I get Chrome Dome and Brainstorm confused sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's interesting. But yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting twist. But yeah, he's just been a background character all the time. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Also Rewind's back. Why? Like
sometimes when you bury your gays, you feel a little bad, and then you have to bring them back.
But like Data Ghost thing, I thought they were gonna at least like lean on to that more because that was interesting.
Well, the point with that was to kind of like hint at the like parallel universe kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he McElroyed it.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I see. Okay, so then he's just back now, like, and it's this version's it's Rewind 1, right?
It's Chrome Dome 1, Rewind 2.
Yeah.
Oh, and Rewind.
But they both have dead husbands, so now they can be dead husbands together.
It's not even his Rewind. It's a different Rewind.
Yeah.
It's the universe clone of his Rewind. And so I guess as long as I stay away from Rewind 1's corpse, they're fine.
I guess so. I mean,
there's no corpse left. We blew that shit up.
That's right.
I've seen something like that before. In like a comic where like someone's dead husband or wife like die like someone like has a husband or wife that dies and then they meet another universe of their wife and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna like be with them now even though it's not technically your wife. So like
they touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, they better because that's stupid and it makes no sense and it's just but okay.
They're messy gays. They do what it takes, you know.
Oh gosh. Okay. But no, this issue was cool. It's a cool issue.
Yeah. All right. So final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of
the Lincoln Park.
Yeah, I'll cue the Lincoln Park up. But final thoughts is I don't know.
I thought it was a strong beginning to this new era with Megatron as a
Oh
coach.
yeah.
I thought it was a fantastic. I really enjoyed it, even though like I said, I didn't quite get what was going on at the end there. It's fine because I am more interested in these characters, and Megatron was a delight beginning to end. So I really like this arc.
No, okay, like this was the best thing. Megatron being Autobot is the best thing out of this book for me entirely, besides Drift. But like, dude, it's so fun. It is such a fun concept of like this man who has had his own communist Marxist movement, murdered billions of Autobots, and is trying to be good, and no one trusts him. No people, they actively want to kill him because obviously Tailgate tries, World tries.
I like that scene.
It's just, and the fact that like he's just dealing with it, and it's just like, and he's so adamant on his path of redemption. But even Ravage, who knows him very well and has fought by his side, isn't really sure if like he's gonna actually stick with it or not. And I think it's really good. It's really good stuff.
Well, I think there's also like, not to make it like that deep, but also, there's also that question of, if you've done so many horrible things, can you be redeemed?
That's true. That is true.
It reminds me an awful lot, and I feel like I made this comparison in an earlier episode, but it reminds me an awful lot of Magneto. I've got real Magneto vibe from Megatron.
I think you did.
Okay, just like Magneto, outside of the war crimes, he did nothing wrong.
That's right. Outside of the war crimes.
Yeah, no, you can. We should make a video. We'll do a clip or something, a video of just like comparing Magneto.
All the times we've compared it to X-Men.
Yeah, yes. But like just doing
this is an X-Men book. That's why I love it. It's an X-Men book with robots.
We'll do a comparison of like Magneto and Megatron in this arc, because I do see some similarity. There are some definite parallels between those two characters in terms of like their redemption in terms of, you know. So yeah. I think that's a good take. Oh, Christian was here. Oh, thanks, Christian. Thank you. He said he loved it. But yeah, no, this arc was so good, but also just like the time travel shit and the multiversal shit threw me off a little bit. I didn't expect to get into that. I thought it was gonna be more focused on what we were reading in the past like 4 issues.
Well, we've done multiverse stuff before.
Yeah, but I mean, it just caught me off guard. It does. It can catch you off guard. You don't really prepare for it mentally when you read it.
You never know when you're gonna have like a simple issue or like a very high concept issue.
All right,
that's true. But yeah, no, this arc was definitely like, I think it's probably my favorite out of them all, because just the Megatron stuff is great. I think
it's so good.
Oh Lord. Does it get better from here though? Does it, Rebecca?
I mean, we still got to see where this goes, you know.
Okay.
Like, I think the ending is not like the ending, but like one of the final arcs in this goes so hard.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
But we still got a couple volumes to go to that point. So, Mikey, if you'll put up my slides for another second here. So next episode, we're taking a little break from More Than Meets the Eye. We're going to dip our toes a little bit into Robots in Disguise with Volume 6.
Oh, are we? That is...
Yeah. Like I said, if we don't like it, we'll drop it. If we do like it, we can read some more. It's up to you guys.
Okay.
You know, I can only hold you hostage for so long.
That's true.
That'll be covering issues 28 through 32 of Robots in Disguise. I believe that's all under the Robots in Disguise title. If it's not, they had a book name change eventually. So if that's a problem, I will guide you from there.
Thank you.
Quick question though, from at this moment in the arc, do you know when this came out? Or what year? Because I keep forgetting like this isn't like current IDW Transformers. Like this is like
I want to say this is like 2014, 2015, like when these issues are coming out.
Oh, okay.
When these started was probably like around 2012. If you're trying to do the read comics like by year.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, I was just curious. But yeah, okay, Robots in Disguise. Oh, we'll see if it sucks, because
I was rereading it. There's definitely some parts I like, and there's some parts where it's like, I remember I skimmed this.
Yeah, okay, got it.
We'll give it a try. We'll see.
We'll give it a try.
Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, closer to the Drift miniseries, the better. So, but yeah, that's basically it. All right. So I guess I'll do the outro then. So
Anything you gotta plug?
Anything want to plug? Oh shit, we have a ton of shit to plug. Not a ton of shit, but like, we got a good amount. Let me lower this volume a little bit. But yeah, thanks for the people that are watching this or will watch this. We appreciate it. Yeah, it's nice that we're back after I think it was a nice deserved break. You know, the holidays was a nice little breather. But yeah, we're gonna be doing this series until we finish it. Hopefully, I think we'll finish it by this year. Hopefully, right?
Oh yeah, within the year for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. So be on the lookout for more episodes and all that. Also, just to be aware, there's gonna be a new video coming out that it was supposed to come out before before this episode, but it's gonna be I'm calling it Indie Corner Rewind. It's gonna be like a retrospective episode of just like me reflecting on the channels and last year. So it's gonna be like a lot of little sweet moments in there, some highlights.
Cool.
So I think it's gonna be really cool. So, but editing takes a while, so it'll be done this week. So just be on the lookout for that. Also, we have 2 After Darks that are gonna be coming out that we're gonna be doing hopefully by this month. More reflective stuff. So we're gonna be doing with Matt as well, and hopefully Seamus as well. We're gonna be doing best and worst comics 2022. Which is gonna be really fun because we didn't really do a lot of comic book stuff, like comic book discussions. So, like of current books and all that stuff. So that's gonna be really fun.
Books nowadays.
Yeah. As well as best and worst TV and movies of 2022. So the stuff we're gonna talk about. What are thoughts on how are we gonna rank Black Adam? How are we gonna rank the Batman? I don't know, just stuff like that. I think it's gonna be really fun. So yeah, just more reflective stuff of 2022 stuff. And yeah, and also just real quick in that reflective video, we're gonna announce what's gonna be our next series because we're not really doing sex criminals anytime soon, so we're gonna have a replacement for that, right, Matt? Yeah, we're gonna see what series we're gonna pick out of the poll that I posted a while back. So that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, people, that's basically it. Thanks again. Thanks for the support as always. Happy New Year. Be on the lookout for the next episode of this in the next 2 weeks. And also keep comment, like, subscribe, click the notification button so you know when our videos come out, when we drop them. Yeah, people, just as always, just get home safe. Thanks for the support, and we'll catch y'all next time. All right, get home safe. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.